Renee Wickman, I believe Jennifer will be translating for Mrs. Wickman.
I am Renee Wickman.
Okay.
The legalization provisions in this act will go far to improve the lives of a class of individuals who now must hide in the shadows without access to many of the benefits of a free and open society. Very soon, many of these men and women will be able to step into the sunlight, and ultimately, if they choose, they may become Americans. The Immigration Reform and Control Act in 1986 was signed into law by President Ronald Reagan, November 6, 1986. The above quote was from Reagan when he signed that bill into law. Approximately 3 million illegal immigrants were granted amnesty who had entered the United States prior to January 1, 1982, and had lived in this country continuously. At that time, there was no push to secure our borders, and illegal immigrants continued to flow across the borders throughout the Reagan and Bush Sr. administration. The African American unemployment rate was disproportionately higher across the country during and after Ronald Reagan's amnesty bill was signed and continued into the Bush Sr. administration. However, during the Clinton administration, 21 million new jobs were created, the most jobs created under a single administration, and more new jobs than Reagan and Bush created during the Republicans' 3 terms in the White House put together. 19.2 million new jobs came from the private sector, the highest number of jobs in 50 years. During the Clinton-Gore Democratic administration, all Americans prospered: whites, African Americans, Asians, American Indians, and yes, Latinos. But what was most outstanding was that though the flow of illegal immigration continued across our borders, that were not secured. From 1992 to 1999, the unemployment rate of the African American community fell from 14.2% to 8%, the lowest level on record since the first data was collected in 1972. Under the Democratic Clinton-Gore administration, between 1994 and 1999, the number of African American families that owned their own homes increased by 1.1 million. From 1993 to 1998, the African American poverty rate dropped from 33.1% to 26.1%, the lowest level ever recorded from data first collected in 1959, and the largest 5-year drop in more than 25 years. Meanwhile, the flow of illegal immigration continued south of the border. In 1999, under the Democratic administration, the Small Business Administration granted $386.3 million in loans to African American small businesses. It was the Clinton-Gore Democratic administration that helped move millions of white, African American, and Latino families from welfare to work through the 1996 Welfare Reform Law. I am confident that this information is a thorough examination of the facts to answer the questions of why African Americans continue to vote overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party. The 1070 bill in Arizona is opposed by citizens who want real immigration reform, like our President, Barack Obama, for strengthening our borders, improving our immigration system, removing incentives to enter illegally, bringing people out of the shadows and working with Mexico, not initiating and instigating racial profiling, destroying and blaming one race of people for another race of people's misfortune, when in fact the matter is that it is an administrative practice of the Republican conservative leadership that consistently cause disparity among Americans, be they white, African American, Latino, Asian, and American Indian. Many of us oppose such a mean-spirited bill, and in this district we will continue to register Democrats to vote and ensure that any elected official on any level is voted out of office that supports this bill from Arizona 1070. We will never pass that bill in the great state of California.
Thank you for your comments. Jennifer.